right, back at it. Gamescape North Store Championship from February 2015. We have, I have with me Nathan, once again helping to commentate. And what do you think about this matchup, Noise versus HP?
This is an interesting one because what Noise does very well is he just instantly wins if he controls the remotes and forces you to mill all your cards away and then runs HQ. Similar to a criminal, and I think the way HP needs to succeed here is by playing fast and scoring out of remotes before Noise can really get built up to control them.
Yes, I absolutely agree, and that is generally my strategy when playing against Noise, is just try and be really quick. Defend up archives as best you can and be quick. So off the start here, looking at the opening hand, that looked pretty solid. I noticed there was a hedge fund and a Cyberdex at the very least.
Oh, and Cyberdex is going to be huge.
Yes.
The question
Cyberdex Virus Suite, which will let you purge virus counters in a number of entertaining ways.
And it could be used as a paid ability. So the question is, can you use it after he installs cache? Before he uses all the counters.
Cache is a paid window ability, so no.
So priority would go to them.
Yeah, so he can install cache, and then the basic way it goes is you have to ask him, would you like to use any paid abilities? And he'll say, yes, I'd like to clear off my cache immediately, and then you don't really have a chance to use the Cyberdex. If you just play down cache and let it sit, then sure.
Yeah. Okay. Looks like you got the Ice Baby start.
Yes, we do, and that's an extra Ice Baby because it's now at 10 credits with Engineering the Future money.
Oh, that's so good. Have you tried, have you ever considered doing the Ice Hedge Fund restructure in an HB deck? I've never seen that, but it seems like it would work.
I suppose it would work. I've never tried it. I don't usually use restructure in my decks, but
I do it in Building a Better World because obviously they get the extra one from Hedge Fund.
Oh, sure. Well, that's even better because you could do Hedge Fund directly into restructure into like Ice Up HQ or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. It's unfortunate you can't see his data sucker counters because they're too clear.
Yeah, I'll try and keep you up to date on that. So he has one so far. I did not res the R&D ice. I'm not sure what's... That's probably because it's 8 res cost.
Okay.
I
wonder what it could be.
Yeah, so it's probably either a toll booth or a Ichi 2. Okay, so that was an agenda down. That was an accelerated beta test. How about that? Accelerated beta test down. Okay, Imp installed, so that will mill a card. Okay, now I'm just remembering that the data sucker mill never happened, so I think we're just going to do that right now. Yeah, I think that's the best way to resolve that, all things considered.
Probably.
It's weird because it's like... it's both players' responsibility to remember that technically, but it's kind of the runner's benefit, so the runner should really be the one that's, reminding you.
Sure.
That's one of the triggers that I constantly remember is the noise trigger. I'm not good as a corp player remembering that.
Sure. So it looks like Noise decided not to run on the remote this turn. Or does he?
No.
What is he on? Looks like, yeah, his turn's over.
Yeah, no, he's out of credits, so he invested his last credits into the daily casts. And the ABT looks like I'm just installing an Ash into that server. Got plenty of ice up though.
Yeah. Now you mentioned you might have the Cyberdex. I'm surprised you didn't install that into remote. Trying to kind of like bait out a run. Because he hasn't used his imp yet.
That's true. That might be good to just have down on the table just in case I really don't want that imp to hit. This deck doesn't have too many operations. It has 3 hedge fund and 2 successful demo. So I'm not too worried about the imp hitting those. But there are some ice I'd rather not have be imped, especially in the noise matchup where ice is already being trashed.
Yeah. And he didn't run HQ there either. He is really starving for credits, it seems.
Yeah, he drew up some cards, I think is what he did, and played out Corroder.
This is your prime opportunity, and if you could hit an ABT here, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not scoring it out yet. I think maybe what I want to do is actually run the ABT, so that might be a Jackson Howard down.
Sure. Something that's a really powerful play is to just install and advance the ABT one time, and then the next turn advance, score, see if you milled any agendas, and then install your Jackson. Super powerful.
Oh, Cyberdex hits. That is so good.
And that triggers out of hand, too, which is crazy good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it triggers out of archives.
It cleared the imp and the 2 data suckers. Yeah, so and then it's just kind of defending up archives a little bit there.
And he actually
has just a one of in the deck.
He has to pay to trash the Cyberdex. He doesn't even get to use his imp.
Yep.
Insult to injury.
It's that card. It's crazy how good that card is.
That's fantastic. So he got his Aesop's down, so hopefully he can start picking up here. He's really getting kind of a slow start. I'm kind of surprised. Noise start very quickly a lot.
Oh, okay. So this is interesting. I could have scored out that ABT. I decided not to. I'm really slow rolling that one. I'm pretty sure it's the ABT down in that remote.
Maybe what your plan is to ice the Jackson?
Maybe.
Or not.
I have an ice I'm considering. It looks like it's an Eli I'm considering playing.
Because if you ice Jackson and he runs it, then it gives you a server to go drop your campaigns into.
Yeah, that would not be a bad play. Yeah, I like that because it also somewhat at least helps defend Jackson for the next turn, so that if I just decide to ice up the remote a little bit more. So he gets the daily cast money, sells off imp for another 3 credits. Look at that burst econ right there.
5. It's a restructure for no clicks.
Yeah, a little bit of setup, but yeah, that's noise econ can get pretty nuts once it's set up. So he's just gonna go into HQ. I do think there's at least one agenda in there. Oh, so he sees the Ash. Oh, he's deciding not to trash it.
It's tough.
Yeah.
That's probably going to go back and hurt him because that card is just so good. But I mean,
I think he must have some plan. Like, oh, there's a good reason not to trash the Ash, I guess.
There you go.
So he does take the NAPD. He says, "Stop making me poor."
It's such a good card because it's like, oh, well, you stole my agenda, but I created a scoring window for something even better, like my ABT.
Yeah. And now he can't really go trash the Jackson Howard yet.
Another reason to not trash the Ash. It's just money. Needs those caches. And this is the real weakness of the Noise Econ engine. It is so ridiculously strong, but if you don't get all your pieces together, it hurts. And if you force the runner to make runs, they don't have time to get that set up, and you could really delay them.
Well, he's deciding to make these HQ runs. He was really focused on HQ that turn, perhaps just to get some data suckers more than anything. But
sure.
Yeah, that NAPD and those 2 runs, it sucked away 6 credits.
NAPD is so good.
Yeah, that's a one of in the deck. I needed 2 more points, and I just couldn't think of it. I couldn't justify not including NAPD. So there's a few ways I could do this. I could just score out the ABT. Okay, which is what I do. I could have also... I think that's probably a SanSan in there, so I could have res the SanSan and scored it out.
Slow scoring it is absolutely the way to go, because...
Yeah, then I probably want to be able to defend it against the... He'd be able to get into that server, basically. Alright, so run the ABT. 2 cards go in the trash. I know one of them was a... What's that card? A successful demo. But I couldn't see the other one. It's risky to ABT against noise. A pup. That's a good pup, though. Think about that, because it triggers ETF, too, so I got a credit for that.
And the install cost. You save 2 credits, so that's not bad.
Oh, he gets an ABT off the top of R&D. I decided not to res. Yeah, because that's still... I think that's like an EC2 or something. So he lets the Adonis campaign stick. So he's sitting at 4-2.
I'm a much bigger fan of Ichi 1. Ichi 2 is much more likely to trash programs, but it's 5 strength, so David eats it, and it's so much more expensive. Ichi 2.
Yeah, well, it's what is Ichi 1 5 credits to res and Ichi 2's 8, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So 3 more credits. Yeah, I like it better than Ichi 1 for some reason.
It's highly situational to the type of deck you're playing.
Oh, he gets
Oh,
him trivia.
no.
That was a 1-of. That was a 1 of 5. But he ran that HQ a lot. He was going to get it eventually.
Sure. Now, the interesting observation with this Noise Econ engine is that, you know, it surprises you. They have 0 credits, and then they get 5, and then they sure gamble. And you go, what? How did you just do that? I don't even know. But something it doesn't do is it doesn't stay up high. Like a lot of it's triggered by that Aesop's Pawn Shop at the beginning of the turn. So that's where their big burst of money comes from, is at the beginning of their turn. So they can't really do it like late or midway through their turn as much unless they have sure gambles. So you can almost count the sure gambles and say, okay, well, you've played 2, you can sure gamble 1 more time. But other than that, you're sitting at maybe 5 or 9 with the cash. I've
definitely played against Noise, who builds up a huge credit pool, but that's usually the variant of Noise that doesn't make a run during the game. So that's a little bit exceptional.
Sure. Well, I mean, also the big bursts are happening at the beginning of his turn still, versus midway through his turn.
Right. I think he's deciding if he wants to sell off the Data Sucker, probably.
That's a tough choice, because, I mean, look how set up you are now, right? You've got 8 pieces of ice on the table, 7 at this point. You're doing a very good job threatening him by playing quickly, and that's absolutely what you need to do against Noise decks.
So he just decides not to sell it, runs on the Jackson Howard, and I do decide to use it, as there were probably an agenda in there that got milled from Noise at some point.
Now, what if you put the Cyberdecks back into your R&D? Would that be utter foolishness?
No, not utter foolishness. I mean, it's doing good work there in Archives, but I have ice over Archives anyway. I think the nice thing about it being in Archives for Noise is sometimes Noise will just want to check Archives throughout the game just to pick up the agenda point here or there, rather than doing like one big run. And so it really demotivates that play.
Sure.
Okay. Parasite down. So he Data Suckers it to kill it.
The big value to you keeping it just somewhere else, right, drawing it, installing it later, is you can use it to save your SanSan from AMP. That's the real only play I see that it gaining you. Or you can he runs a sentry that he parasites, and then you use your Cyberdecks when he encounters it to remove all his Data Suckers, and then he has to deal with it.
I love doing that with when they have Mimic and Data Sucker and they go running in on the like Ichi 2. I've done that a few times where then I clear their Data Suckers and they just run into it.
Yeah, that's a fantastic play. That's I think kind of one of the things you're supposed to be able to do with that card is just like you're running Data Sucker.
It enables a lot of nonsense like that. It's really great. Okay, ice going down.
So the
only 3 installs.
The only money you spent this game is advancing agendas and resing that next silver.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, I guess I technically spent money to res the Adonis, but not really.
Sure, and you've also spent money installing. You spent 3 credits installing so far this game.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, kind of. ETF pays you for that, but yeah.
Sure, ignoring the ETF.
Ignoring the ETF, yeah. Just 2 credits for installing ISA, right? Because that pup was free.
Yeah, that's true.
that pup, I think that ABT, I'll stand by that. That was worth it. That was totally worth it.
I think if you got hit with a pup on your ABT, that's the best place to put it.
Yeah, no, that was, I was totally happy with that ABT. It was fine. That's exactly the type of ice I want down on that remote anyway. I want just taxing ice. I want like taxing, hard end the run.
Sure.
You know, like pop-up window, pup, toll booth. That's my remote. I love that remote.
And then he fems the toll booth and gets in no problem.
Well, yeah, but he has to spend 9 on the fem, and then there's an ash down there, and then there's an agenda down there, and, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. The ash really boosts that by forcing them to run through the taxing ice twice.
Wow, I don't usually have this many remotes in this deck.
And it looks like, I can't really see, it looks like you put another remote up over top of the Jackson.
No, I think the Jackson's... So I installed a remote like below the Jackson and then moved it above the Jackson. So there's a card above the Jackson ice.
And that's a remote.
That's a new remote. That's probably something like an Eve campaign or maybe another Adonis. So you just deja vus for... It looks like it was an Imp and a Parasite, I think.
Sure.
Right? Yeah, Parasite down on Eli.
And he's putting it on HQ, which is really smart, because HQ is really where the game is for Noise. It's very criminal-like.
I don't think there's an agenda in there.
If he had some legworks in his hand, or in his deck, I think that would be a fantastic include.
I don't think it's how his deck always works. I think it's just the way it's kind of working out in this game.
Sure.
The other servers are a little more locked down. Okay, going into HQ again. I think if I had an agenda, it would just be going down in that remote. The remote's looking pretty good. Oh, he does get the aggressive secretary taken out, though.
That's a sad one. Not as valuable in this matchup.
Yeah, not as valuable. I'm always like, not that upset about that because just the fact that they know I have aggressive secretary in my deck, it does good stuff for me.
That's true.
At this point, I'm just looking for an agenda to install.
Sure.
I have a pretty good remote. I have a remote that has, I think, a SanSan and an Ash in it, and some more ice. I have a good amount of credits. I'm just looking for an agenda to install.
And he's at game point, isn't he?
Yes, he's at 6. So hopefully, I mean, I think I could keep him out of R&D. Yeah, that next bronze is really suppressing R&D right now, but just get some more ice on there, because I know I have something really expensive underneath the next bronze, so it'd be nice to have something else up top to just tax a little bit.
See, Noise drew a David. I'm sure he's not happy to see that. Unless he hits that Ichi.
Yeah. There's Ichi in Toll Booth.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the toll booth.
Yeah, but he's not really seeing a lot of big ice right now, so...
And you're Jacksoning now.
Yeah, I'm looking for an agenda really hard.
You have to be really careful. I mean, obviously, this kind of indicates to him that if you're digging for them in R&D, they're not in archives. So that's kind of a key to him. Okay, now they're either in HQ or they're in archives at this point. Or R&D,
Right.
I mean.
Yeah, if they were in archives, I think I'd probably just use the Jackson Howard to try and help my chances of getting it. Okay, icing up the remote a little bit more. I think I'm just figuring, like, once I draw the agendas, I need to be ready to go. I just need to make sure I have enough ice and everything set up. Just going into archives first. This is... Ooh. I'm wondering if he's remembering about that Cyberdex. He's probably trying to get me to use the Jackson Howard.
Yeah, absolutely. That's his best option because Jackson is iced.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if he just wants to get rid of the Jackson Howard, this is probably the better way to go, but it does suck losing the data suckers. Okay.
Sure. At least he doesn't have imp
So
down this time.
Gets through to imp my archives. Oh, to clear the imp, yeah.
Imp got cleared last time, which was very sad.
Yeah. Okay, so I do decide to use Jackson Howard. Definitely an agenda down.
I'm very surprised I haven't seen Cash this game. If he has them, I'm sure he's very disappointed he hasn't drawn them yet.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Oh, he must have them. He must. So it looks like I'm putting in a face down, an aggressive secretary, and another face down. Oh, I screwed up there. So what I did is I think I used Jackson Howard before he declared if he's going in or not, and then he decided not to access.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's just where, like, maybe I assumed that we'd already passed that phase, but, it hadn't technically happened, so...
That's the worst. That happens to me on Octagon Lock. Fun fact, you cannot actually res non-ice cards until after they've committed to succeeding at the run. But there is paid abilities at that same window after they commit to accessing, and there's also one before. So if your Jackson wasn't rezzed, then technically you would have used it after he accessed, or chose to access.
Is that true? You can't res before the success?
Yep, that's correct.
Huh.
I didn't know that, right? Dedicated response team. Here we go.
Ooh, successful demo.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe that ended up working out okay in anyway.
Was it luck?
I think I just drew that. I don't think I was holding on to it. I think I just drew it. Maybe I was holding on to it because I think I drew an agenda this turn.
Sure.
Interesting.
Now here's where HB Engineering the Future really gets a lot of runners. This game right now isn't an issue of cards, it's an issue of pacing. Right? It's like he would be in a much better spot if he just had all his breakers out, he had more cards, he had more money, but HB Engineering the Future just plays so quickly that it is difficult for a runner to keep up. And that's where they really start winning.
Yeah, and with their campaigns rolling and with that steady econ from ETF money, it's hard to keep up with them. Okay, so that was ABT down in that remote, so just score it out. Don't think I'm going to be running it this time, just based on the number of ice on the table. It's probably not wise. Based on the number of ice on the table and how hard I was looking for agendas to score.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Is he? He's running the remote now, it seems.
No, I think I'm just looking at I'm just trying to remind myself, basically. He's just looking for something. He's digging for cards here.
And
okay, David down.
HB is like really good against just these anarchs, right? Where they're not efficient, but they're powerful, and they're seemingly random, right? David, I go from not being able to break your toll booth to being able to break your toll booth super easily. That's kind of where anarchs shine, and so it's really these decks that just force the runner to be efficient that really hurts the anarchs.
Yeah, I think what you said I don't know if it was beginning of this game or last game we just commentated, but like having that middle strength ice is really good against Anarch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this deck runs a lot of that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I've been practicing with a lot of Anarch decks, and that's where it's starting to hurt me the most. As I'm seeing things like Hive, Lotus Field, next Bronze, next Silver, Eli. It's difficult for me to deal with all of my Anarch decks.
Wow, most of the ice you just talked about, Morningstar would be a great solution.
Right? Paintbrush Morningstar on that Lotus Field.
Well, maybe not Lotus Field, but the others you mentioned would be quite good. Yeah. Hive, Eli, next Silver, not bad. Not bad ways to go.
Ichi won. Very good, because it's straight 4.
That's true. Another reason.
also Eater, right? Although Eater doesn't get through Eli fantastically.
Yeah, it depends if you have data suckers or something. It could be just as efficient as anything else.
Sure. Now, Order and Chaos is legal for this, right? Just to clarify.
Yeah, that was the last pack available at this tournament. That's correct. Sure. I should have mentioned that up front, but thank you for reminding me.
Now everyone knows.
Yeah. All right, second click going into HQ. It is a Roto Turret.
Oh, that's mean. He has the Mimic in hand, too, actually.
Yeah.
But he's just so short on credits.
I don't know. I probably get the Corroder. Yeah, Corroder is the right choice.
David isn't as much of a threat right now.
No. Yeah, he's really going down on credits here. So he's at 0 credits again.
And what's even worse is every card that you trash, even not fantastic ones, say you had trashed the Data Sucker, that hurts Noise so much because of the Aesops. Like, he can always use that as a money burst if he needs to, and every time you trash a card from his table, he can't do that anymore.
So it looks like I drew into an agenda. I'm not entirely sure which one it is, but I think it's a Vitruvius.
I love how you have the SanSan, but you're not. You don't need to use it.
Yeah, no, that happens so much with this deck. There's not a huge focus on fast advance. So, ooh, okay, that's an agenda down and 1 advancement. So do you try and get in there as Noise? What do you do?
Notice he Aesops the Data Sucker because I need money right now, and that's always available, right? So I mean, if he needed to, he could do that with his Corroder, but now it's gone. So is that an NEPD or a Vitruvius in the remote?
I know what it is, but I'm not going to spoil it. So this was, I think, third click going into the HQ. And last click, take a credit? Oh, okay, now something else happened that I didn't quite understand, but... So he's going into HQ again. Any agenda would do it. I don't think there's an agenda in there. Oh, there is a Vitruvius in there, I think.
Oh, that's scary.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, I know what it is, Brian. I know what it is.
I love doing this. I love doing this. SanSan. Advanced 3 times.
It's the 5-3. Oh.
It's a 5-3, yeah. I love doing that. That's my favorite play right there.
It makes it so hard for the runner to know if it's NAPD, right?
Right, yeah, you're bluffing an NAPD because everyone knows the install advances in NAPD, and like, you know, he probably couldn't get into the remote, and if he did, there's an Ash down there, and if he did, it's an NAPD, so he's just not even going to run it. If he thinks it's a 5-3, like if I install advance, then he might like have a stim hack or something. He might find a way, you know. So you don't want to you want to like hide where match point is. And that's what SanSan lets you do in the case of a 5-3. So I think on that last turn, what I did also, just to be extra tricky, I think I installed advanced and then took a credit. So I could have just installed advanced, but I just decided to like mask where match point was in that regard. And he did the right thing. He got an HQ 2 times, and there was a Vitruvius in there, so I got lucky on that.
How many 3-pointers are you running in this deck?
There's 2. There's Utopia and Eden.
So you have 9 agendas?
Yeah, that sounds right. It's 3 ABT, 3 Vitruvius, 1 NAPD, and then 2 5-3s. Is that 9?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's 9.
I can't do math.
That's the loadout. Yeah, Utopia is my favorite agenda to score. That puts the game into easy mode when you can just install advance everything else, and then you have a very good chance of scoring it. It is really great.
Utopia is fantastic. I am super impressed with it.
That is the one that you get. The runner has to pay +2 credits to steal for every advancement token on the agenda. That one's great for scoring out an NAPD, but it's also just great for scoring out like an ABT because it motivates you to install advance it, and then you can run it, and then you have 2 clicks on your next turn to save yourself if it fails.
I don't know when that first occurred to me, but there was something in the game that forced me to want to learn to try to do that. I think it was when Leela first came out, and I started, okay, I need to install advance so that I can score mid-turn. And I started learning about all these tricky things you can do, like play aggressively with Atlases. That was already there, though, but you could do things with like ABT, right? You install advance ABT, next turn advance, and then put down your Jackson if you have to, but otherwise, like, whatever, put another agenda down. You could do that with almost every agenda, and it's so weird because we never see it because we're so caught into playing quickly and efficiently that we miss out all these game design opportunities for these tricky things that we could do that we didn't even realize.
And I think what you touch on there, like with that HB deck, it does do quite well. Like it won undefeated at another store championship. I think at this one it probably won 4 out of the 6. It's a pretty good deck, and it plays a lot with the fact that people aren't used to remote play. Like I think fast advance is so prominent that people just don't really know how to deal with you installing and advancing cards behind ice. Outside of maybe like Replicant Perfection, but that old style of play, as some people put it, is still really good. And yeah, some runners just aren't really built to deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you aren't, then you basically just lose, right? Unless you just get some fancy...
Although that was a close game.
It was. That was
many times. There was many times where that could have gone the other way. So
I mean, what did he have? I think he had 6 points by maybe a third of the way through the game.
Yeah, he got them pretty quick. Once that happened, I was like, okay, this game has changed. This is a different game. This is fine.
This is fine.
Yeah, this is totally fine. Like that's my attitude when that happens. It's like, this is not a big deal. This is totally fine. Just go with it. Whatever. All right. So next game is starting up here. Let's end this broadcast. Any last thoughts?
You definitely that was a game of money that really won you the game. And that's what HB Engineering the Future does, right? They play fast, and they get the money that they need to do things. And if the runner can't keep up with it, it is very, very, very difficult to win. And
Well
another
said.
thing is, against Noise, right? Against certain matchups, Noise might mill your money cards. But to some degree, engineering the future, every card is a money card. So that's fantastic, right?
Yes, true. Any installable card, of which you'll probably have quite a bit.
That's right.
All
Well
right.
done, Brian.
That is the game. We'll have a lot of more games from this tournament, including there was a cut to top 8, and those games are really fantastic, so definitely look forward to those. Thank you for helping to commentate, Nathan.
Thanks a lot for having me, Brian.